Hey Simon, I've made a couple video responses to you, and I hope you haven't taken them in the same way that you've taken the people that seem to just be, not only disagreeing with you, but rejecting your whole belief system and calling you stupid. If those people are out there and they're doing that to you, then just ignore it. I mean, that, or just don't post your videos on YouTube. It's certainly an environment where you're going to get a lot of retardation and idiocy, and you're going to get a little bit of intelligence and a little bit of some attempted communication and collaboration from others. You gotta, find that out and cultivate it, and just, pull up the weeds and toss them out and don't worry about them. So, that said, I do actually want to disagree with the idea that time doesn't exist or doesn't matter. Because I think, you're saying more than just what quantum physics tells us, what quantum theory tells us. You're telling us, you're trying to make a statement about science itself. So you're wandering into the philosophy of science, and you can no longer use the mathematical equations, the wave function, the experiments of quantum theory as your sole source of perspective. You're moving into epistemology. What is the nature of the relationship between the human knower and the natural known? So, while I do love quantum theory, I think one can disagree with you with your interpretation of the non-existence of time without having read quantum physics. It certainly helps to read quantum physics, and while I can't claim to have understood any of the mathematics involved, actually the applied mathematics, I couldn't do any equations myself. I think I have an understanding of the philosophy behind the mathematics. But regardless, I think we need to be talking about entropy. If you want to get rid of time and the directionality of time, we need to discuss entropy and thermodynamics, both in closed systems and open systems, because at least in open systems, it certainly does matter which direction time runs. Time is an integral component of, for example, everything that happens on the Earth. Biological evolution at the top of the list, but also whether the composition and activity of the atmosphere and the oceans. I mean, the development of life on Earth, and in fact the whole Gaian system, the whole planet itself and its dynamics, does what it does because of its particular history, because of its development through time, and the laws which guide it through time make no sense in another order. Their sequence is somehow statistically significant. And science has known about probability for 150 years at least, since thermodynamics. Boltzmann's findings, where probabilistically we can understand that in a closed system, heat will disperse and eventually reach equilibrium. That state of equilibrium will be the most likely state to find a system in, and the state that all systems will tend towards. Now, when you open the system, all of a sudden you get self-organization and complexity, novelty, creativity. Whole new levels of activity emerge, where no longer would you expect the system in 100 years or in a million or a billion years to be at equilibrium again, to be less ordered and less dynamic. In fact, with life, you would expect it to be more complex. Now, this doesn't contradict the idea that the universe as a whole is entropic, that the universe as a whole will eventually tend towards equilibrium. This just shows that when the gradient, when the difference between the distance in space and time is great, far from equilibrium systems, non-equilibrium systems like life will sprout up in order to faster bring that gradient to equilibrium. So life, in fact, is highly efficient entropy. And, of course, all of this rests on the idea that time has a direction. So let's talk about entropy. I haven't heard you mention it, and I've made a couple video responses to you bringing it up, and I didn't get much of a response, but if your theory is true, then you've got to tell me why entropy doesn't matter, and why science is more than a probabilistic endeavor, meaning epistemologically, whether we're doing science, philosophy, writing poetry or literature, or trying to figure out what we should do in a situation we know we're going to face tomorrow or the next day. In any of these enterprises, how can we be certain of anything? What relationship between the knower and the known justifies that? What is this observer that you think you are that transcends all reality and that can contact reality with mathematics, its innate ideas? What is this observer? It sounds like a Cartesian mind or soul. And we need to discuss the metaphysical implications of that, because it has to do with a lot more than just quantum physics. There's a whole philosophical foundation resting beneath the theories, or the interpretation of the theory of quantum physics that you're putting forth. So let's talk about these things. Let's just see what we stumble upon. So shoot me back a response, and we'll see where we go from there. Thanks for listening, Simon. Take it easy.